Chat thought you should redo that story to make the accent better, but I think that was the point.
Yeah. I mean, if you like, I can reread it for you in a multitude of different sounding things. Let's see. Settling bets down at pub Donnybrook Oi. How's that? Better?
One more time?
Settling bets down at pub Donnybrook Oi.
Ah, that's the Osaka accent I'm looking for. Good.
All right, so I believe that is our episode. So I will come over there and we can talk about stuff.
Good.
Begin discussing.
All right, slide over. And now we can all bring chat up on our phones.
That's a
Because that tends to be what happens at this point.
bonus.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been involved in this.
And we can also then add, then that means since we're watching chat, we're also adding ourselves to the viewer count.
Hey.
We are done. And no, chat only.
There we go. Volume
Oh my
away.
God.
And...
I mean, I have chat right in front of me as well, but I have to do this to read it because Twitch won't update their apps to support accessibility guidelines.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so... oh, right, we also need a list of the things that we were working on.
I got that.
You got that?
Hey, everybody. Sorry for the moving around of the microphone.
Ah, well.
I'll re-apologize for that as well.
Let's first talk about the stories that any more info about the stories that we did talk about.
Yeah.
Talk about what we talked about. So we they started with the new movies from Capcom. Yeah, frankly, like Paul W.S. Anderson seems like a perfect guy to do a Monster Hunter movie.
It'll be fine.
And they've worked with him lots before. They know exactly what they're getting. It's like, yeah, this is the kind of, we want cheesy blockbuster fare.
Like I remember, I think it was Resident Evil 2. Is literally like people running and then fights.
Ah, yes.
Like whenever there's never like a whole scene in which something doesn't attack somebody else.
Which is good because you're just describing every Mega Man game.
Yeah.
A lot of running and fights.
Yeah,
It's true.
So
It's Mega Man's got the slide too, though.
Oh,
that's
yes,
true, yeah. That's going to be real good. People will be very angry if they don't work the slide into a Mega Man game. The thing I remember most about Resident Evil and what I wanted to try to work into the story and couldn't figure out how is that the thing that sticks out to me is a scene where everyone lands in a helicopter and they all get out of the helicopter. These are all of our heroes, not the zombies. And they're in like a...
Zombies in helicopters would be the worst.
They walk out, there's a desert, and there's lots of shipping containers just sitting haphazardly around. And then one of them bursts open from the inside, the doors fly open, and a lot of extras all dressed up as zombies come tearing ass just towards Mila Jovovich. And she's just got her machine guns going and just like mowing these people down. I'm like, that is the dumbest setup for a scene I've ever seen. That they land, they get out, there's no dialogue, there's like scary music and shit, and then a container opens up and everyone runs out, and I'm like, what were those 50, 60 people doing in there in the first place?
What strikes me most about
Being zombies.
About your story is that you illustrate your lack of being in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of extras pop out of this shipping container, not a bunch of zombies.
No, because they didn't look like zombies. They looked kind of half-assed, and the thing is, the one guy in front, I remember him like really fucking giving her as he's running, and I'm like, that's not how I think of people who are zombies, right? I don't think of them having an affect to their face. They look very bored. That guy should have been running it like just with like kind of a dull face. But no, he was like just giving her like just gritting his teeth like Dave Bautista.
These are fast. They're virus type zombies.
Oh right,
Rage.
You're right. That's right.
Anyway,
They're people who are they're zombies, not zombies. Yeah.
the other thing to look out for, which is actually a fun thing, if you watch Paul W. Anderson films, Paul W.S. Anderson. not to be confused with Paul Anderson.
Or Paul Thomas Anderson.
If you watch his films, what's great is once you notice that in almost every film that he makes, he's very concerned that you know where things are in relation to each other. So in almost every film he makes, there will be some excuse to have a CG 3D map of the whole area in which the film takes place for the characters to look at, and then it'll like zoom in on the part, and then it'll show like that scene. And it's weird that it's so seriously, it happens in so many of his movies.
It's a hallmark.
Honestly, I wish more video games did that, actually.
Yeah, I guess it's
let
fair.
me see the area.
And sometimes, like, if there's no excuse, like if they're not a super high-tech thing where they would have a holographic display, sometimes he just does it as like a special effect.
Oh, just to show
as like
what's happening.
a cool transition or something.
Fair enough. All right.
Anyway, so yeah,
And I don't know what the Mega Man game's going to look like, or Mega Man movie's going to look like. It's a dude in a blue outfit. It's going to be Astro Boy. It's going to be Astro Boy. Like, ultimately, or Pluto.
Like everybody was super like it seems like the moment you think of live action Mega Man, you see, in my mind anyway, and I think most people see those two Mega Man box covers.
Yeah.
Which is not, like, Mega Man does not look cool.
No.
And there's no way you can make a man in a skin-tight blue jumpsuit look cool.
Yeah. They're going to have to do some, like, Battle Angel Alita shit.
It really takes me back to the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it feels like that's what's going to happen. Okay, well, we need to do this to make it make sense in real life. What else do we need to do to make it make sense? Well, I mean, strip away everything that makes it Mega Man, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who you'd get to just be like, we're going to put you in, you have to be this android who has two feelings, anger and shooting people.
Do we get John Leguizamo again?
Yeah, we do. That actually sounds great. Make him Dr. Wily.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? Guinness World Records. As we said in the episode or in the story, maybe has strayed from its original mission to some extent.
Yeah. Well.
Or maybe the kinds of debates that happen in pubs is different now than it used to be. Maybe they debate what is the most the most critically acclaimed film with a
animal character.
in it.
I actually think that's a really good point, though. Mm-hmm. The kind of if you're down, like if younger people are going to the pub to do stuff, they're arguing about Fortnite. Like they're right. That's what's happening. So it makes sense to be like, okay, but what game do you think was the least successful,
but also the most critically acclaimed?
Yeah, most critically acclaimed game. Like it got the best, but it was the least successful. It won Game of the Year, but it did not make any money at all. What do you think it is? And everyone's like, oh, I think it's Puzzle Quest, or it's like, or I think it's Monster Hunter, or I think it's whatever.
Oh, it's clearly going to be Myst.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, right.
Which apparently was.
But did you say Myth? No, I said Myst. Myth's its own thing.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, these. By the way, these are not like the Guinness Book of Records publishes like a book.
Yeah.
These are not included in those. They've got like a website where they have like a lot. They have all the like.
However,
it's like the technical awards at the Oscars, right, where they don't broadcast them.
There is a Guinness book, a published Guinness World Record book, Gamers Edition. So they do put that out when it.
I mean, at one point, like I believe that like James has most time played in Desert Bus.
Yeah.
As a theoretically as an official Guinness World Record.
We could back it up.
I mean,
whatever that count,
Yeah.
That is credible.
Because we have proof of it.
I think it just, if anything, it tells me I'm not having interesting enough conversations with my friends.
Yeah.
About weird combinations.
Yeah, we're talking about like politics and religion and epistemology, and it's like, no. Do you know what game happens to have the most playable characters in it?
The game that has the most playable characters who are also minorities,
right,
but was also programmed entirely in assembly.
Right.
So just got to get really more specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're all non-white visible minorities.
Oh, animals, in fact.
Oh, animals, in
Yes.
fact. That would be Animal Crossing.
Games featuring ducks that take place on the moon.
Is the most financially successful game about ducks that takes place on the moon.
Wasn't there one of the levels in the DuckTales game that takes place on the moon?
That's exactly what I was referencing. I was hoping one of us would come up with another game that featured ducks on the moon.
Ducks on the moon, yeah, I know, right? Oh, man. That game doesn't, I don't think. Somebody in the chat will think of one, though.
Anyway. Also, I do enjoy least successful game that was nevertheless made Game of the Year.
That hurts.
That's definitely a backhanded Guinness World Record.
Yeah, your game is a failure, but you know what? You got a record for it. Oh, that sucks.
These game critics have awarded it.
All right, we got the Epic thing. So that's totally true. I have applied for the Epic Creator because you have to have done Fortnite content within the last 30 days, and
we have done it fairly regularly.
There's been a couple of episodes of CheckPoint that involve Fortnite stuff. You couldn't, unfortunately, in the application process, there wasn't a thing to be like, look at these specific ones.
Oh no!
It was just like, what's your YouTube channel name?
We put out too much content then.
So I feel like the chances of us getting into that program are relatively slim.
But if there's a place to launch appeals, we definitely have to launch an appeal.
It seems like it reminds me of like Amazon Smile or something. Like it seems like it's just a weird, and I'm surprised that they don't even have. It seems like having some sort of charity thing tied to it would have made sense too. But they're just like, hey, if you want to put in this code, it's like an affiliate code basically. It's like if you put in this code, then rather than having to click the thing each time, then for the next 14 days, the person will get a chunk of your stuff.
The fact that there's no requirement to have any branded things in the Fortnite store really kind of threw me for a loop there.
It is pretty cool. Also, I think Amazon Smile is a great name for an all-female J-pop band. It is.
I mean,
and I believe by saying that, you have now summoned it into existence.
Yep.
Wait, did you actually apply for the Fortnite? I did.
J-punk. Yeah,
there's an application process, and they have to approve you. And they said it might take a couple weeks for your approval, for or against. Look, I don't think it's a high chance of us getting approved for it, but we figured we might as well.
Made PUBG partner. Why not try for this now? Yeah.
All right. What else we got going on here? Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed chickens are attacking players.
Yeah.
Which is intentional.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're inadvertently attacking players. The problem is, one, it's unexpected.
Yeah.
People don't like there are dangerous animals in the Assassin's Creed games, and there have been for many years. But people don't normally expect chickens to be one of the dangerous animals.
I mean, if you played enough Zelda, you would. But in that game, you'd probably be like, "Oh, look, chickens! Haha, I bet you if I screw with them, like in Zelda, oh my God, they just come after you."
Also, chickens don't attack you just straight.
No, they don't.
You have to annoy them quite a lot before they'll come after you. Presumably, this is like a little Zelda homage.
That's why Miyamoto is the master of fun. He realizes that until you have to annoy a chicken enough to make it attack you, and Assassin's Creed is just like, we'll put chickens in the game and just turn their aggression to maximum.
It used to be part of his walks when he was a child. He'd taunt chickens until they hurt him badly.
Yeah, and then he'd count under his breath. He'd be like, Ich, ni, san, chi, go, roki, chi, chi, ha, chi, kyu, ju, chu, ich, ju, ju, oh, Christ!
Oh, no!
So it's an accurate number of annoyances on the chicken.
Yeah, exactly. You know, to know how far you can take it before the chickens all turn on you.
So anyway, the problem apparently, or part of the problem is that it's unexpected. The other thing is obviously chickens are often in groups. So and you'll be like doing an assassination mission. Things go bad or whatever, and you're running away and you're hurt.
Yeah.
And then you like jump into something like, say, for instance, a bale of hay, which may be
saturated with chickens,
which may be in like a stable where there are chickens. And you're like, I'm safe, and then just chickens, and then you get killed.
If the chickens are that aggressive and that strong and that hard to push back, why not try to use them as sleeper agents in the game to overthrow all the bad figures? And you could have yourself a chicken coup.
So one of the my favorite story somebody said about this was in like the Reddit thread where they were talking about this. Somebody was saying, so I was doing a mission where it was one of these things where you like walk into an area and you get ambushed. And so I walked into this like farm area, and the chickens don't immediately aggro to you.
Okay.
You have to do something to annoy them.
Right.
So I walk into this farm area and there's a chicken there and it's not attacking me or anything. The event starts, as in like a bunch of guys show up to ambush me, and the chicken aggroes and also comes and attacks me. He said, like, I fought everybody and killed all the things.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Including the chickens.
Okay.
Including the chicken. And then it says you have to search the bodies of the people and you get like a note that tells you who has sent them.
No.
The first body he searches is the chicken, and he gets the note from the chicken.
Damn it.
So apparently the chicken was a sleeper agent in that particular scenario.
Wow. That's fantastic.
The chickens secretly work for the Templars.
It'd be great if you could aggro the chickens into the guys you have to kill. Because that's some serious...
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We got the...
So, other stories we didn't talk about.
Oh, we got the PUBG one.
Oh yeah, the low-spec
PUBG.
That's so awesome.
It's weird and awesome.
Yeah.
I think one of the jokes that didn't actually make it into the final cut was, I was looking at the specs, and I thought, hold on a second, I've seen these specs before. i3, 2.4 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM. It's like they designed this specifically for people who purchased the 2012 upgrade of the Mac Mini.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I have.
Yeah. Intel Graphics 4000?
You mean the last Mac Mini?
Yeah, it's...
the most recent?
It's also like, I guess I'm hoping that it's that they're like testing, because of course, Thailand doesn't have a monopoly on bad computers.
No, it's true.
And also, like, the full spec version of PUBG or whatever is notoriously hungry on resources, especially given what it looks like.
Well, what surprised me most about that is that, is there something, and I don't know, and I'm curious to look this up, is there something about Thailand where there's a lot more PC gamers, but they have lower spec computers? Because both Fortnite and PUBG have mobile versions now.
And you'd think you just get it on mobile all the time.
Exactly, because that's, all these emerging markets generally tend to be mobile heavy in terms of where people are using their computers. So,
is Bluehole, are they Asian?
I don't know.
Because I thought that...
Korean?
Because I thought it's Brandon Green, right? We make fun of his name so much that, or because of the game, obviously, but I thought that he was working with an Asian company to make PUBG in the first place.
I believe Bluehole's Korean.
They're Korean.
So I guess it stands to reason that they'd be like, if we're selling in the market, where are we not selling? Okay, what's the concentration of technology? Oh, it's desktop computers. So I guess we should...
Specifically in Thailand.
Yeah, and they have to be like, well, it's not getting picked up in Thailand. Why is it not? Well, because they use desktop computers and they're ridiculously low spec. And it's like, maybe we can gain inroads there because Fortnite sure as hell is probably not going to run on those older computers. So maybe that's PUBG's push is they're like, we don't... North America gets to be made out to be the center of the gaming market a little erroneously. I don't think we put down the amount of money that probably the rest of the world does. But yeah.
I mean, well, there's also just like a per capita, and also just like even if per capita the U.S. puts down more money, there's a lot more people
all around the world,
in other places that even if they're putting a little bit less per person, it's still a lot of money.
And maybe Thailand is like a seat of it's like maybe it's a perfect intersection of disposable income enough to be purchasing games and playing games and doing that kind of thing, but also like the other line being like still stuck on lower end hardware.
Maybe it's one of those things where it's based on internet cafes as well, or the gaming cafes, and their gaming cafes are spec'd out lower.
That is an interesting. I remember I was actually reading about a thing that was talking about that there's these weird additions of various graphics cards of like GeForce and AMD graphics cards that are basically were only made for gaming cafes. They're like, and I don't know quite why the specs are. They're like, I guess so they can be they're like bulk purchased.
Well, I find it interesting as well because I know that NVIDIA has restrictions around their gaming cards, especially the 1080 and the 1080 Ti's, that Amazon wasn't allowed to purchase the retail versions for use in their data centers for machine learning. That they had to purchase because they were using it to share the data and sell off cycles.
Right.
They're not allowed to use the retail cards.
Fascinating.
So they had to use like Quattros or whatever, like the sort of more workstation ones?
They have a specific line meant for them, and I wonder if that might be the case for internet cafes as well.
So they might have a make of GeForce specifically, like not a Quadro, not a workstation card, but they might have like, we make a GeForce that is a specific SKU.
This is the bulk
apparently the big difference is they have less RAM on them.
That I could see that too, yeah. Because I mean, if you're going to buy bulk, if you're like, I need to buy 30 or 40 of these, it's like, well, we'll take a hit. We'll take 2 gigs of RAM off them because it'll be enough to play the game. Because people are coming here to play the game anyway. They don't really care. Yeah, GTX 1060 with only 1 gig instead of the regular 3 gig. And it's like, sure, people are coming here to play the game. They might care if it's the nicest version, but then again, what's the trade-off?
I think it was like Linus Tech Tips or something did a thing where they were like,
how much do you need?
Well, no, they were like ordering, it's like cheap graphics card off of whatever Wish or thing, and apparently that's a lot of what you'll get is it's like it is a GeForce, but it's one with only one gig of it's like a 1060, but only with 1 gig RAM.
Right. I remember the key thing about why the graphics cards were so expensive there is that that's for the reason why it's cheaper to buy your own graphics card and build your own machine for machine learning than it is to go with AWS. So they have to buy more expensive graphics cards and make up that cost.
It's fascinating.
Anyway, other stuff. There's been there was some Fallout 76 news because they demoed it for or allowed not only demoed it but actually did some hands-on stuff with various games journalists and stuff, so they could actually get a chance to play it. There's I've read a couple articles now that are saying that it's like, because there's this weird thing because it's the whole thing where it's all multiplayer, right?
Right.
But, and a bunch of the stuff I've read is talking about how, because it's all multiplayer, because the idea is that it's not only multiplayer, but there are no NPCs at all in it. That's at least the aspiration is that there will be no NPCs in it. That every other person that you meet will be a real person.
Interesting.
So what that means is that a lot of the like quest lines and stuff are done through like, it'll be like a recording or something. Like they get around it in various ways.
You've discovered a note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On this guy's dead body you just killed, so you've ruined his game. Congratulations.
And so apparently there's a bunch of people, and so it's this weird situation where it's a multiplayer game, ostensibly, but in some ways it's also people saying that it really evokes the sort of lonely treading through the wilderness aspect.
Okay.
Like there's one review I was reading, it's like it really evoked the like lonely treading through the wilderness of the sort of post-apocalyptic wasteland aspect when my 3 squad mates would shut the hell up. Like I was, and so it was like, and even one of the developers was saying to reassure people that you could play it in a single player way, saying that he usually plays it single player, and that's totally possible. And yeah, for a game that's sort of been like, hey, check it out, we're going to do multiplayer Fallout, a lot of people are saying that it is a great sort of it really captures the Fallout style if you're playing it single player without other people.
Yeah, that's something that's an experience I've run into a number of times with Destiny back when I was still playing it. Is that I would get in, it took me, because I do so much, it takes me a little longer than most people to level up to where I need to be for raids. Yeah. And so I'm coming into the raid blind and expecting a great, in addition to fun shooty times with friends, I'm expecting like a great narrative experience too. And for me it would be if it weren't for all my friends who have gone through this raid 8 different times, just
flying through it.
Yeah, flying through, goofing around, squatting and shooting at things while I'm just trying to listen to what the story is happening. I think what it means is you need to go into the experience with the same attitude as everyone else at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Because there's other stuff, like VATS is weird in that.
Yeah, so if you don't know, in the first person, well, in all of the follow, but especially like the first person ones, how they did VATS was you would hit a button and everything freezes and you get like the outline of the person. You can have the percentages and stuff. Obviously, in multiplayer thing, having your view freeze doesn't work.
No.
And so apparently what it does now is it doesn't actually stop anything, but it doesn't stop the game at all. But it does give you the outline of the people, and if you get a particular upgrade or whatever, you can target their different body parts, and you get a percentage to shoot it.
Oh, okay.
And so you fire, and then you know whether you missed or not based on the percentage.
Okay.
But because it doesn't actually even stop the game at all,
right?
Whether that's any better than just shooting the guy yourself,
right?
And just using the fact that you're pointed at him to hopefully hit his head or whatever,
right?
Is debatable. Apparently, the big use of it is that you can tell where everybody is because they get outlined. With
That's
the
handy.
bats
Yeah.
That's something.
So it's an interesting idea.
That's how I like to play games.
So VATS is an aimbot?
Have all my enemies outlined
sort of. It's a built-in aimbot, except it's also percentage-based.
I mean, if you had a thing where it was like the VATS is doing some sort of auto completion for you, right? It's like, I shoot this guy, it's like, okay, your best shot was to shoot him in the left arm. It was a 63% chances of 50% everywhere else. So I'm going to shoot him in the left arm because that was your best chance at actually hitting this dude. If it did that, or you could be like, always favor headshots, or usually favor headshots, and it basically just rolls the dice to see did you actually hit them in that way or not. I could see that being a thing, but then what would be the point of the percentages if you're not actually slowing down? It's just like you're basically just saying, I want you to roll the dice and I want you to give me the sense of, and then everything else is just window dressing. I don't know what's better, but I don't know how you make that work in an MMO. So
it depends, I guess, which kind of game you want to be playing.
That's true, yeah. And if you're playing Fallout, I assume you liked the evolutions they're making, but maybe the combat system is less important.
The transition,
the whole mutant thing. Yeah.
The transition of Fallout from a straight-up turn-based RPG to more of a sort of first-person shooter is quite interesting. That they've been going back and forth over that line in different ways for each edition.
It feels like they want you to have it both ways, and
and for in a large part they've succeeded in allowing both sort of types of combat, but obviously with the multiplayer it becomes a little bit.
So you make everybody stop, and then it enters combat mode, and then everyone enters in the shot they want to make.
Becomes turn-based.
And then when it's all done, it all goes off at the same time, like diplomacy. You all shoot each other at the exact same time, and then it goes to the next turn, and everyone has to lock in their shots again.
So is the game diplomacy, not just the concept of diplomacy?
Yeah, the game diplomacy, yeah.
The concept of diplomacy, where you all shoot each other at the same time.
Anyway.
All right, other stuff. Kingdom Hearts, the story so far. So, obviously the joke is that it's really complicated. The story so far is a compilation of the 2 previous compilations of Kingdom Hearts Kingdom Hearts things, which, as you might guess, have really stupid names.
Heather told me last night, because we were talking about A Wrinkle in Time, and then we got on to Kingdom Hearts. And as we were talking about this, she had mentioned that people regarded the DS and 3DS games, the PSP Vita, whatever, like anything that wasn't like mainline Sony hardware console, this is how I get my dick on, like anything that's not that, as like those are spin-offs and therefore unimportant to the story. And she said, turns out that wasn't the case. The story in all of the games all matters to the story, and you don't have to play it, but they all matter.
The problem is, of the, I think there's like, I don't know, 12 or 13 games.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of them aren't actually there. A bunch of them are actual remakes.
Yeah.
But they've also done like sort of partial remakes.
Ah.
Or updates.
Okay.
Well, and what got me about what she said too is that it's like on the compilations that show you stuff, they're just the cutscenes from like the handheld games, because it's like you don't have to play the game.
You just have to know the story.
You just have to know the story. So we're going to give you just all the cutscenes, and you can sit down and watch all the cutscenes from the game, and then you're caught up. You know what's happened in the game, and you know how that also ties into the larger story. And I was like, that's interesting, but also a little weird that they were acknowledging that, yeah, the game we made, largely irrelevant.
What I love about this, so this package, Kingdom Hearts, the story so far, contains Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix. And Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Which is, because those are the two previous compilations.
Like, I feel like the confusion here is just in the names that they've chosen to use, and that if you actually do map it out on a piece of paper, it's probably not that difficult to figure out.
Yeah, they've chosen a wide variety. It was they had like all these 1.5 and all this stuff, and then they did the like 33 and a
358 over 2 dreamed up distance.
And everyone was just like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah.
What?
What does that even mean? Oh, here comes Heather.
58 over 2 and dream drop distance are two separate games.
I would have no way of knowing that or caring.
Also recoded.
Also recoded?
Yep,
Wait, is that the game name or is that a description?
it's the game name.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts recoded,
Yes,
not with a number or anything.
not that I think of.
Okay.
There's another one with a number, I think.
That's just the version that they put out in Swift.
Yes.
They put out like a new one recently that has everything.
I thought Naked
That's
Gun
what we're talking
33 and
about,
a
yeah.
third was the dumbest title for that movie.
Until
which
you
is fine.
until you
That was the joke.
realized it was
Yeah.
a joke about albums.
Yeah, well, no, I knew it was a joke about the albums, but here's the reason: is because it was like, oh, well, they did Naked Gun, then they did The Naked Gun, then they did Naked Gun 2.5, because what a stupid thing to do. And then it was like, when you have your friends or your family, and let's say you have friends and family that are just not terribly funny people, and they say, you know, it'd be a great title for the next one when they make the other one, would be like Naked Gun 33 and a third. And I'm like, why? Well, because it's like 33 and a third, like the record. I know what 33 and a third refers to. I know what a long play record is. Thank you for that. Why should they call it that? Where's the humor in that? Well, I think they should call it that. And you're just like, it's so fucking
Well,
stupid.
the fourth one should definitely be called Naked Gun No Quarter Given.
That's a good title. That really is, because it sounds like a Lethal Weapon action movie. Like Loaded Weapon 1 was a good title for that movie too. But 33 and a third just caught me as like, that seems really dumb because it seems so lazy. That's why I thought it was. And then when they titled it that, I'm like, oh no.
Naked Gun 5, Cinco de Mayo.
That's less good.
Oh no, it just takes place in Mexico.
I've gotten us really far off track, haven't I?
You have.
A
I'm
little
sorry.
bit.
Anyway.
I don't honestly think that that Kingdom Hearts is that difficult to understand.
Okay.
Especially because I've now been doing more reading about Gundam UC. And the side stories in that and where they actually fit into the main timeline.
So what you're saying is it's not easy to understand, but there are worse.
Yes.
The thing that I feel they really missed the boat on this particular this particular collection, if it is indeed, the story so far to prep you for Kingdom Hearts 3, which is going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Is that so? Both those two collections came out. The two collections that this collection is made up of.
Yeah.
Came out at different times, and the chronological order of the games doesn't have much relationship to the release order of the games.
Yep.
Oh. Okay.
Which is
Yeah.
not unusual.
That's happened. Yeah.
And so these collections, so the individual collections weren't in are not in chronological order with each other. And for this release, they didn't. This release is like, you get this one and this one. They didn't like combine them together and show and actually like give you the games in the chronological order.
So it's not just one long story, it's a couple of games that are also compilations in their own order.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they're not all every single game. Some of them are collections of games and also other things that they couldn't make. They like the cutscene thing where it's like, here's the cutscenes for the game that we can't put on the PlayStation because it's a 3DS game and we're not going to port it. Right? Is that what the new thing is?
Yes.
Because that had to be everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is that previously you had to buy these 2 collections, now you don't. So yay.
Okay.
But you still need to have like a separate, and in fact, this article that on Kotaku that announces it also has a link to their extensive Kingdom Hearts like guide as to how to actually play the games in the right order.
Machete order.
The actual, well, no, it's because the machete order is like remixing.
I think what you're thinking of is some sort of jungle-based keyboard order.
Chronological order.
Yes. Right.
Anyway.
Right.
The jungle key, I guess.
Right.
If there is a jungle key, please tell me there's no jungle key.
All right, what else we got going on here?
Also, just so everyone's aware, everything we've been doing for like the last X number of minutes is not being recorded, it's just being streamed. So Heather will not be editing these moments into the end of the checkpoint.
No.
No. Local recording stopped a long time ago.
In fact, it's probably already finished editing and in the process of uploading or something. All right. Fortnite has been obviously having a problem with, well, unsurprisingly having a problem with malware, where people will pretend to be like, hey, this is an aimbot for Fortnite.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I'll download that because I want to cheat at Fortnite. And it'll be like, ha ha, fooled you. I'm actually Trojaning your computer. Although they don't usually say that because they want to keep it secret that they did that to your computer.
That makes a lot more sense.
Although I would appreciate it if viruses did that more.
Mocked the people who were basically trying to do a shitty thing and saying, aha, I hate you.
So, but there's a great report from Malwarebytes, the company that does virus scanning software. They're saying that the one particular virus or Trojan that's been quite prevalent is it originated from a YouTube video where it promises undetectable Fortnite aimbot hacks and loot detecting tools. And a link in the description of that YouTube video sends you to a page that promises you to deliver the cheat download in exchange for a YouTube channel subscribe. And there, the site then directs you to a second site which offers the cheats, and then which gives you a download code to a file hosting site where you download the cheat and install it on your computer.
Wow.
And my takeaway from this was just like, that seems like a lot of work.
Yes.
Like it used to be that you could get a virus on your computer just by visiting one website.
Oh,
Yeah.
You just visit that website, and then all of your computer would be completely
Pwned.
Well,
completely pwned, and you would have viruses all throughout, and you would have to completely reinstall your computer. It just seems like a lot of work to get a Trojan.
back in the good old days of these sorts of things, Sony used to include a rootkit with the game.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
right. That's forward thinking. I'm ethically, I don't know how to feel about this, because on the one hand, people who are doing a shitty thing in a video game, a multiplayer video game, to basically be shitty to other players, are getting screwed over for wanting to do the shitty thing to other players. So yay, but also.
You don't wish rooting on anyone.
True, but also like in the larger picture, it just means that there's more malware out there and that the people who are doing the malware are profiting, which means they're going to find ways to do other shitty criminal things. And I don't want them to do well either.
More computers being compromised by
Always a bad
malware
thing.
is not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always the case, like cracks for software or wares and all that stuff is always the place where you're more likely to get you know, because you're obviously in an area where you can't be like, I'm going to report this to my whatever, whoever you were. I don't even know, like, if you're getting you're going to a totally legitimate website and there's a virus, I don't know who you would report that to. My member of Congress will hear about this.
Yes.
Dear Jeremiah H. Fortnite, while I was attempting to upload a bot on your service, I received malware. An instruction that my computer would be erased within 24 hours.
Luckily, though, luckily, I just got a phone call from the guy from Windows support.
Yeah.
And he told me that while there were a bunch of viruses on my computer, all I had to do was install this program on my computer and give him control of it for a little bit.
He'll clean
and
it
then
up
he
for
would
me.
clean it right up for me. So I'm going to do that.
It was a real bargain because it only cost me $1,000 in iTunes gift cards.
Now, here's the real question. Will these malware creators be applying for the same Fortnite program, do you think?
Well, they do run a YouTube channel.
Yeah, they do.
And it feels like catfishing, but they are fishing for subs. That's also the thing that gets me is I'm like, they're getting more and more followers.
I don't get why part of the whole thing is also like, hey, let's bump up our YouTube channel.
That's the boggling thing. Is I'm like, is that so that they can like make ad revenue off the back of their videos?
And I guess it pushes, if they're followed by more, it will then push their video up in the rankings.
But then YouTube then has to know who these people are.
But YouTube doesn't care who
Fair
these
enough.
people are.
Right, because they're not putting the malware on YouTube's own site.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
true.
a link out.
Yeah.
All right, a couple others here. You saw us playing Super Mario Party on Friday. Super fun, super cool. Very kind of a nice sort of what I would call old school Mario Party feel to it. I really enjoyed it. It does have an online game mode, but apparently it's not good.
No.
For one thing, they're out of the 80 some odd mini games in the game. 84 mini games in the game. 10 are playable online,
And 5 at a time in rotation, apparently.
Yeah.
When you actually have the online Mariothon, you play 5 random mini games out of a selection of 10. So you might even end up playing the same 5 or most of the same 5 in the next round that you play.
Does this surprise anybody coming from the company that requires you to insert a UUID to prove that you're a friend with someone?
It's just weird. Like, I wonder what's different about those. Like, is it that those 10 don't require like really tight latency or something, or is it just random?
If this was something that you could invite any of your friends to play with you online without them having to own the game, I could understand that. Like, okay, you just have to download these core assets to be able to play with your friends, like you used to be able to on the DS with the transfer play.
Yeah.
But if both of you have to own the game, and these other mini games are not locked in any way, I don't.
No, it's completely ridiculous.
Unless these will be unlocked with a DLC purchase later on.
That sounds like horseshit to me, though. What I think will come in a DLC will be extra boards at some point.
To be fair, though, online like random, or not random, but like online open matchmaking for Mario Party seems horrific.
Yeah.
Like, it just like, I want to play Mario Party. Okay, finding 4 other people or like 3 other people to play Mario Party with you, like, that sounds like a really bad idea.
Yeah. That's
like, I don't think you want to play Mario Party with people who you, at least before the game, were friends with.
But being able to play Mario Party, which is an asynchronous, largely asynchronous game, with your friends,
like it
seems like a blast.
Yeah, and like there doesn't seem to be anything terribly difficult to do from a networking standpoint.
Well, there was that game that we played where everybody had to like jam down on the A button to inflate a balloon. Or rather, I don't think I played it. I think I saw Graham do it. And so it was like, it says basically, hold A to inflate balloon. And Graham went pff, and just hit it right away. Heather started tapping the button because it's like, well, that's the button you have to use to inflate the balloon. And it's a pump, right? Because they've had games where you would do that. You have to pump. And you have to tap in a certain sequence. It literally just says hold A to inflate balloon. So they're holding it down and the balloons are inflating and everyone else kind of got a hold of it and realized, but of course Graham's way ahead. His balloon's way bigger. and he can feel the HD rumble in his hand. And he's like, oh, this must be it. And he lets go because he's like, I don't want the balloon to pop because I'll lose, right? That's the point of the game.
You want it to pop?
No, you just hold it down until the timer's up.
And it doesn't pop.
And it doesn't pop. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So he let go, which meant other people got ahead of him. And he was like, wait, what the fuck? I took my thumb off because I thought it was going to pop, but it didn't. And you guys got bigger than me, and I was winning. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. And that's Mario Party.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it
it was
literally
just
told you how to do it, and you second-guessed it.
It was a measure of who started holding the button first.
Exactly.
It
It's
was
like,
a very odd game.
it was a really weird game, I thought, because I'm like, but it was like one of these little versus games. It wasn't a mini game. It was just like, oh, you land a versus space, you're going to play this stupid game against each other really fast. And I'm like, it makes sense. It's a WarioWare feeling thing, but it's not.
Can confirm the balloon can pop.
Really? Well, nobody got there.
Okay.
Anyway.
But those kind of games where it'd be like latency would have an issue, right? If that who knows who hit first, because the game would have to sync all that.
But yeah, but for the last 15 years, we've had games where we have like literally the speed of a bullet has to be synchronized.
Yeah.
I feel like we can. I feel like
Microsecond allowances are.
I feel like when you push the button to start the balloon inflating should not be that difficult.
I think that's a solved problem.
Yeah, I think
It's a solved problem.
Yeah.
Like I think we were talking about this, like when Nintendo was talking about their new system.
The Switch Online, yeah.
Yeah, the Switch Online, where it's like I know that all the companies are like in competition with each other, but it's like couldn't maybe Nintendo just like quietly like ask one of their buddies at one of the other game companies to be like, how do you do online stuff?
Could we get like you're not using Xbox Live version 1? Could we have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I don't know. The other option is that that the gameplay is meant to be more like a Johann Sebastian Joust situation.
Oh, yeah.
Where everyone holds A, but you also just slam into each other physically to try and get people
I
to
see.
stop holding it.
Yeah, they didn't say that, but that's a great idea, actually. They need more games where you physically assault each other.
Hold on, I need to go to drive to Jimmy's house and punch him in the shoulder until he stops holding A.
Yeah, that's the problem with online play.
Yeah. So we talked last week, I guess, about the Telltale stuff. Obviously,
Yeah.
bummer of a thing where Telltale laid off almost all of their workforce with no notice, and they kept some like 25 people as like a skeleton crew to finish up one of the games that they were doing.
Except not so much, apparently.
And apparently, I don't know whether whatever they were supposed to be doing is now done, or what, or it was like, but now those 25 people are also gone, and so
They're done tightening up the graphics in level 3.
apparently, yeah. The good news is that Walking Dead has apparently been taken over by another company.
Yes.
In fact, the gaming division of the company that does the Walking Dead comic book,
Oh, that's probably good. Would that be Dark Horse?
Skybound Games is the company. Yeah, it is part of the company behind the Walking Dead comics, which is also what Telltale's adaptation is based on. So it seems like a good fit.
Yeah.
And apparently some of the people who were working at Telltale will actually be working there as well, or have gotten jobs there. So
It's a shame that this whole situation came about, but I think due to the fact that, if I can posit that the engine is finished, most of the assets are done, and it's programming story for the most part.
I mean, given that it's like the final chapter or something, it's like, yeah, you have practically everything set up. Now it's just, it's building the assets that complete that game as opposed to having to start a brand new game from scratch.
there's been stuff about there's like a class action lawsuit theoretically, but I mean the problem is that it's like laying off all the people without notice. Obviously, a very terrible thing, or very very poor management thing.
Yeah.
But like the company's gone. Like I don't see how
The
there's
company folded.
Yeah, like if there was money to pay people the severance, they would have had money to do other stuff, which they didn't have. So I feel like there isn't a lot. Maybe there's some sort of sinister behind-the-scenes thing who's siphoning off all the money.
I think we're all of the agreement that the entire gaming industry is kind of broken from the top down.
Yeah.
And none of this should have occurred, but the fact that it did occur is less than pleasant. And
Looking forward to see that gaming union show up. I can't wait to see what happens there. Because that would be a real shot in the arm.
This checkpoint, by the way, is up on. It is now up on YouTube.
oh wow, can we watch it?
How'd it turn out? Who did it this week?
Yeah.
And I think that is it for stories that we talked about, or that we
considered.
thought was interesting, that
Yeah.
we thought were funny enough to be talked about.
There's some real interesting stuff going down at KFC, but I don't know what's going to come of it yet. We'll have to save that for a future episode.
Probably chicken fighting. It's not. It's like you would think, cockfight very bad, but not when it's against a person. It's a chicken versus a person, and the chicken wins.
Yeah. You're like, oh.
It's like, I'm conflicted about this as a sport.
Man bites dog. That's not a story. That's a sport.
All right, so let's welcome the subscribers.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for those of you who didn't hear or didn't see the Twitter and stuff, unfortunately there's no Dice Friends tonight. We will be continuing on the Music of the Spheres Cthulhu scariness tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, sorry, next week. Next Monday at the time that you would expect.
Which is 6 p.m.
Which is 6 p.m. I guess you might not expect that because we move it around sometimes.
Wait, hang on. Are we still on daylight time?
I think I was wondering that the other day, and I
I
realized.
believe the shift happens at the end of October.
Thank you.
Does it? Okay. I thought it was halfway through October.
No, I don't know.
That's okay. Somebody in the chat will... 30 people will chime in chat, and we can take the average. Yeah, that's...
Right, no. This is the thing. It's end of October for most people, for Europe and everywhere else.
Right.
So it's the last Sunday in October for them. It is the first Sunday in November for North America.
That is a terrible aphorism because it doesn't rhyme at all.
And if you're in New Zealand, you've already switched. Because it was the first Sunday in October in New Zealand.
Wow.
No matter what day of the week it is, New Zealand, you've already switched. If you're hearing this now.
All right.
So yeah, I won't redo my rant about how terrible daylight savings is because there's I can do
So
it
much
again.
agreement.
I can do it again in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
and then you can wait an hour and do it again.
Yeah. Oh, New Zealand was the last Sunday in September. Australia was the first Sunday in October. Great.
Neat.
My favorite thing about that, actually, about the daylight saving stuff, is there is one place, because there's like the 2 weeks between when when North America switches and when, or there's 1 week, I guess, between when North America switches and when Europe switches, right? The other way around. Europe switches and then North America switches. But halfway in between those two, one place switches. And I think it might even be a half hour.
Okay.
Oh,
And that one place is the Troll, or the research station in Alaska in Troll. It is literally called Troll Research Station. Because it's trolling me.
I like the idea that because Europe will fall back before us, that I think what that means is that doesn't like the Atlantic stretch out by an hour, or does it fold in itself by an hour?
I think you're just closing the trench.
By an entire latitude, longitude. The whole longitude just disappears, and the world becomes 170 degrees.
Yeah, that's literally just at the Marianas Trench is just like a fitting that opens and closes based on
This
daylight
unusual
saving stuff.
fissure that's
Yeah.
breathing, yeah.
Based on expansion and contraction. Yeah.
Close it up.
Anyway, everything is terrible. But what's not terrible is all the wonderful people who subscribed.
Correct.
Starting with Matt Andre for 46 months. Thank you very much.
And 3D. Nikki Wolf for 43 months. Welcome back.
Big checkpoint. Welcome to the Mandrew, who subscribed for 28 months. Thank you so much.
Gian Locke for 13 months. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. W. Nivek for 57 months. So many big months out there.
Here comes Lethondrin, who's a brand new subscriber. Welcome.
But wait, does that mean? Yes.
Yeah, it's you.
Obi-Wan Canadian. I kind of want to Obi-Wan Canadian.
Yeah.
For 32 months.
I see
Thank
it
you
now,
very much.
Actually, you're right. Lord Trusher. I know it's Crusher. For 36 months. It's 3 years for you. Congratulations, Crusher.
AgentMagicMaster for 57 months. That's a lot of months.
Oops. I pushed the wrong button.
It's you.
Nova Tiempo for 6 months. Thank you very much.
Nova Tiempo for 2 months. Welcome back.
Happy thanks to Nova Lightning Bolt for 9 months. Thank you.
Guess that was Nova Tiempo 1.
Domi for 3.
Urian is a new subscriber. We will continue to not get your name correct over the coming months. But thank you for subscribing.
Boaty McBoatfaceJr for 21 months. That's divisible by 7.
Ooh, now you can drink in the States. Drazoth, 27 months. Thank you for that support again.
When they lowered the drinking age to
21 months.
21 months.
Yeah.
That was a poor choice.
Yeah. So many drunk babies. So many quiet drunk babies.
Mangledpixel for 61 months. Thank you very
much.
And thank you for the 514 bits from Earthen One, Lord Crusher, and the Maricat.
Bits.
Babies have no disposable income. It's true. That's the big problem. That is the only reason why that is a poor idea.
Yeah, getting people to come on. What's the slang term for when you get somebody older than you to buy you booting for you?
I guess so.
Booting.
I was just going to say by 21 months you really need to have at least 2 years of your gross income saved away for retirement.
That's fair. Yeah. At this point, you're actually right. Holy shit.
Yeah, if you haven't started already, you're doomed.
Yeah. Also, if you don't have a taste for beer at 21 months, like I mean, that's the kind of time you should be getting down. You know what your favorite palate is. You know, your flavor profiles, the things you enjoy.
That India Pale Ale milk is.
Yeah. There's a lot of little babies that like to drink IPAs.
Dry hopped breast milk.
Definitely not re-fermenting in the bottle.
No.
Anyway. Thank you all for watching. Next thing is going to be the 9 o'clock on Tuesday. So no, let's say no Dice Friends tonight, but Tuesday we've got a full session, 9 o'clock. We got New Day Tuesday, which I believe is going to be Kathleen playing a thing.
Yes. I forget what it's called.
And then PUBG and all that stuff. PUBG and Talking Sim, and then continuing on with Disgaea.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
Disgaea 1 complete.
This guy, not that guy.
Who's got 2 thumbs and penguins for bombs? Disgaea.
Wow.
And on that note, we'll talk to you later. Bye.